from my perspective, as a young child, when I was given the Anne book, I remember it vividly, and I think I'm not unusual among Canadian children. For one thing, there was no television in those days, and for another thing, this was a Canadian story. It talked about a place that we knew. Rachel Lynde, my character, I thought of her when I was reading it as a villain.
Anne Shirley! Anne Shirley, you come back at once and apologize.
Mark my words, Marilla. That's the kind put strychnine in the well.
You shouldn't have twitted her about her looks.
Marilla Cuthbert!
I'm not making excuses for her. Perhaps she was never taught what was right. But you were too hard on her, Rachel.
I see I'll have to be very careful what I say from now on. Oh, I'm not vexed, Marilla. I'm too sorry for you to leave any room for anger in my mind. It's obvious to me that the good sense I admire in you left you when that child walked in your door. Goodbye, Marilla. Come down and see me when you can. But don't expect me to visit here again if I'm to be treated in such a fashion.
Goodbye, Rachel.
But when I went to play it, I discovered that the heart of gold that Rachel Lynde has comes through very easily, and I think must have come through to us when we were reading it too.
But you mustn't mind me. I'm known throughout these parts as a woman who speaks her mind. And don't worry about your hair. I knew a girl once who had hair every bit as red as yours, but when she grew up, it darkened into a real handsome auburn.
The period costuming for the Anne movies, I think I've been in period costume most of my life. I seem to work well in that period of 1890s to 1910 or 12. There's vast corsetry that takes place. It takes two people to get into a corset, and consequently, Kevin, with his very rich imagination, said, "Would you mind if we did an episode like that, where Colleen has to get you into the corset?" Which, of course, we did, to my great embarrassment, but it was quite a funny episode.
Oh, you caught a bit of skin that time.
I wouldn't refer to it as skin. It's fat. Oh, will you suck in that stomach?
It's your eyesight. You're too stubborn to admit it, but you can't see a thing in front of your face.
Colleen used to say that she thought we were a good contrast to each other because she was also a big-boned woman, but very thin compared to me, and that we played off each other with those things. It was great fun to work with Colleen Dewhurst.
But I feel awful sorry. You think it bumped into my conscience all the way down? Do you think I finally found my conscience? I want to know.
When you do a continuing character, a wonderful kind of thing happens. There's the writers get to know how you work, and they work with you. So that the further along I went with Rachel Lynde, and I did, between the Anne movies and The Road to Avonlea, I did play the character for over a decade. I would get the scripts, and as we went along, the scripts would be easier and easier for me to assimilate. So I think, in fact, I did bring myself to it. I'm very grateful to Kevin and to the Sullivan Films for having done the Anne series, the movies and the series, and for employing me all those years, because it made a big difference to my life in that way.
Well, Marilla, I never would have believed an orphan could turn out so fine. No one could deny she's real tall and stylish now.
Nobody at all. Can't help remembering her as a little girl. Awful hard I was, bewildered, trying to manage her. Matthew understood her better.
Well, it's to your credit you changed her as much as you did.
Ooh, she hasn't changed that much. Not really. It's us that's changed, Rachel.